Coming up on Newshub Late, COVID-19 has returned to our community with 4 new cases. Auckland will enter alert level 3 from midday tomorrow, with the rest of the country moving to level 2. Join us next. Kia ora, good evening. It's the news we didn't want to hear tonight. After 102 days without any community transmission, the Prime Minister announced that 4 new cases of unknown origin have emerged in Auckland. The city will now move back into alert level 3 from midday tomorrow, while the rest of the country will move back into level 2. Edward O'Driscoll has the latest.
102 days without community transmission. Now New Zealand's record has been stripped back to 0, with 4 new cases, with no link to overseas travel, no known source.
We have not yet been able to determine the source of these cases. There is no immediate link that we have found as yet to a managed isolation facility that we are aware of, and there is no yet known connection to any high-risk individuals such as those who work at our border.
A 50-year-old Aucklander, the first to test positive. Their 6 family members all then tested, 3 of whom also returned positive tests. Now Auckland will soon be plunged back into lockdown, alert level 3.
As of 12 noon tomorrow, Wednesday, August 12th, we will be moving Auckland to level 3 restrictions for a period of 3 days until midnight on Friday.
From as north as Welford to as south as Pukekohe, the rules are clear.
Act as if you have COVID and as if the people around you have COVID. At level 3, you're asked to stay at home in your bubble, other than for essential movements such as going to the supermarket or local recreation. If you are in Auckland, you must work from home unless you are an essential service worker. All schools and childcare facilities in Auckland are closed as of tomorrow morning, except for the children of essential service workers.
And in a return to a world Kiwis had so hoped to have left behind, gatherings of more than 10 will be restricted once again.
Travelling into Auckland is prohibited unless you normally reside there and are travelling home. If you are currently in Auckland but do not normally reside there, you also can leave to go home.
But it's not just Auckland. The rest of the country will enter level 2 for the same period of time.
That means social distancing applies, and mass gatherings in that time will need to be limited to 100 people.
Once again, a move to go hard and go early.
We have done this before, and we can and will do it again.
Kia kaha, New Zealand.
Well, Edward O'Driscoll joins us now from the Auckland newsroom. And Ed, what are those main points about the move to alert level 3?
Well, because of those 4 community cases of COVID-19, Aucklanders will move to alert level 3 from midday tomorrow and will stay in alert level 3 until at least midnight Friday. The rest of the country will move to alert level 2 at the same time. It means that Auckland schools and childcare centres will shut and Aucklanders will be asked to work from home. And like last time, bars and restaurants will be closed, but deliveries are still okay. Now, these moves are essential to making sure the virus doesn't get out of control again. Here's epidemiologist Michael Baker reacting to the news.
This is absolutely the right thing to do. This is how we got through the first wave. We're still in the first wave technically in March by a very vigorous response, and I think also very high level of support and adherence, as we say, by all people in New Zealand. So we have to remember how we behaved then, and we have to do the same thing. And I guess the one big change this time is we're also going to use masks.
Now testing will be ramped up across Auckland. Community testing centres in Grafton, Whitty, Henderson and Northcote will operate with extra staff, and they'll be working longer hours as well, with more pop-up clinics being planned. Now, Dr Ashley Bloomfield urged Kiwis tonight, if you are told to get a test, you should do it, because we can't afford to let this virus get out of control.
Ed, thank you. And despite advice from Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern for Aucklanders not to panic buy at supermarkets, unfortunately they've been doing just that. Emma Cropper has more.
On the eve of level 3, it took just minutes for the fear to set in. Hordes of panic buyers streaming into this botany supermarket. Shoppers stocking up with the essentials before level 3 kicks in.
And then I got a text, I got a phone call telling us that we're going into lockdown again, and within 10 minutes, well, probably 15 minutes anyway, this happened. And now I'm waiting to get a letter.
I'm a bit dumbfounded by how many people are here.
Pretty hectic, and as you can see, the car park's like nothing like when we came in. It's like probably just chaotic now.
The crowd here forcing the store manager to shut the doors early.
Sorry guys, the doors were closed.
And the police called in to help.
They're closed, you guys have to go.
The queue stretched down the road outside this Auckland store and lines in the car park at Countdown Westgate where people were being turned away. It's reminiscent of what happened last time around, but just like then, the rules will be the same. Supermarkets will remain open and stocked, but with restrictions on how many people are allowed in. Auckland's Mayor Phil Goff is urging people to remain calm, saying please do not panic buy and please follow the lockdown rules. He's urging Aucklanders to come together like we did last time to stamp out community transmission. A team of 1.6 million within the wider team now asked to pull together again to fight off COVID-19.
And Emma Cropper joins us now live from a very busy countdown at Botany Downs in East Auckland. And Emma, what's the mood like where you are?
Alex, as you can imagine, everyone is feeling quite nervous, quite anxious, but a lot of people are still learning exactly what is going on. I was just talking to one woman. She came up with a trolley full of groceries and she said she had no idea what had happened. It wasn't until the supermarket erupted into that chaos that you could see in that story that she realised what had been announced this evening. And it is because of that chaos that police are now standing at the entrance here at Countdown. No one is allowed in. They've closed early. They're only letting people out. And I'll show you around the car park. It is now calming down now, but it was absolutely chaotic here just about 20 minutes ago. Cars were bumper to bumper. Police were trying to act almost as crowd control as people were trying to flock down here and continue buying and preparing for level 3.
Thank you, Emma. That's Emma Cropper live from East Auckland. Now, there are reports tonight that one of the new COVID cases is linked to Mount Albert Primary School. Parents and staff were sent an email this evening saying a child at the school lives in a household where a number of people have been confirmed with COVID-19, according to the spin-off. The school will close to all for at least 72 hours. Elizabeth White was at Parliament tonight for the Prime Minister's shock announcement. She joins us live from there now. And Elizabeth, will this new community transmission have an impact on the election campaign?
Yes, well, this could have a potentially huge impact on the election. Tonight, Labour Party campaign chair Megan Woods has confirmed she has told all Labour Party candidates that the election campaign across the country has been suspended for the time being. She says the focus at the moment needs to be getting New Zealanders through this next stage of COVID. Now, Jacinda Ardern was actually supposed to travel to Auckland tomorrow for election campaigning. She will be now spending those next 3 days in Wellington. But it is also worth noting that she spent the weekend in Auckland for the launch of the Labour Party election campaign. She is now back in Wellington, but told media tonight that she has no plans to self-isolate. Now, she did also say that she had spoken to Judith Collins, National Party leader, this evening, and when we asked if she had talked about potentially postponing the election, she said she had spoken to her about the election, but there was no update for media at this stage.
And Elizabeth, you were in the auditorium tonight for Jacinda Ardern's briefing. No doubt you were as shocked as we were. How did the media react to this?
Yeah, I think there was a massive collective shock in there tonight. I mean, we all rushed down. We only had 15 minutes to get to Parliament and we were all waiting in anticipation for that announcement. We were obviously all very quiet listening to what the Prime Minister and Dr Ashley Bloomfield were saying, but I don't think many of us were prepared to hear that there were 4 new cases of community transmission tonight. I think many of us were expecting maybe 1. We had heard rumours that there was going to be an announcement around COVID, but I don't think that we were prepared for the magnitude of what was heard tonight. And we obviously had mountains of questions we wanted to get through. It was a very intense press conference. It went for over an hour, questions non-stop from us, wanting to know how this had happened and what we can do as New Zealanders moving forward.
Elizabeth, thank you. And a care unit at a Christchurch rest home is in lockdown tonight after several residents displayed symptoms of a COVID-19-like respiratory illness. The Village Palms has notified Canterbury DHB and Public Health and sent in swabs to be tested, saying it's a precautionary measure. It says there's nothing to suggest it's anything more than the flu, but it cannot take the risk of a rest home outbreak should the unthinkable happen.